Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over 10 teams for the Gems of War message in a Kobold event week. This will be going over everything from the current World event to the faction that we have going on tomorrow of Emperinazar of the brown-yellow restriction, things for the class event, some task coverage teams to end up getting the tasks done for the new campaign that we just had started, as well as just some teams using some of the troops that ended up coming out this week or specifically being available this week that will also be specifically showing. So let's start from the top with the World event. So as far as World event, it's going to be pretty straightforward. There's actually two kind of straightforward ways of doing it. We have Farce Troll / Beatrix. So you can basically just spam them forever. They end up creating they do a bunch of damage. They create a bunch of mana back into themselves while also feeding brown into Forest Troll and have an auto extra turn. Forest Troll doubles green. Double green gives Goblin full mana. The Goblin gives that brown, and you basically just have infinite mana. And it's just here for a quick yellow to green convert to kind of get things rolling. So you can get your first Truffle down, so you can get your first Forest Troll down, so you can get your double Truffles, so you can get your back to Forest Troll, and just kind of keeps going on. Next, we have ourselves a much cheaper team. So this is a very low budget, low rarity team. As far as Orb of Winter, you get this from 250 wins from the Frost Mage Hero class. Frost Mage Hero class you get from completing out the quest line for Glacial Peaks. So if you don't have that weapon yet, you can simply just get that from 250 wins with Frost Mage and do it like that. Just basically an AoE weapon. You can use any other weapon you want, but it does help speed it up if you have a damage source. You could, of course, go for... Actually, in this case, you probably wouldn't want to go Dawnbringer since it would kind of block the deckhand. But yeah, you could basically just go this, get your AoE down. Deckhand is here for a very specific reason, and that is to give you a lot of mana. It ends up creating 5 purple gems, and then it transforms all purple gems into blue, including the ones that were already onto the board. So ideally what you want to do is cast him, get a bunch of mana for your entire team, use Rashka Free Blood to go destroy the entire board with Explodes, and then repeat that cycle. You might not have enough gold to do that necessarily on your very first try, but on your second try you definitely will, as between the double greedies with all the extra turns that you're going to be getting from the deckhand, from how many blues he's going to be creating, you'll be able to get your whole team to full mana, get all your gold, have Rashka's Free Blood start to board clear, and pressure damage with that while also still doing your pokes off of Orb of Winter. And you can also go very tanky hero class like Elementals if you so choose, in order to make sure you don't die. Next, we have ourselves the faction event that's going to be going on into Tuesday. Tomorrow's faction event. This is for Emperinazar and is a brown-yellow restriction. So with that being said, we have access to pretty standard Guards Avatar team. Of course, you're allowed to use any weapon, and you can just use a mana accumulating one. Harpy Mage is basically a turn to Empower, where it has 75% mana start, which means with Enchant, by the second turn, it will be able to go and cast for a bunch of mana accumulation. Also giving Brown Storm for the mana you need into the single cast Guards Avatar, basically the higher rarity of Rowain. Next, we have ourselves the, speaking of higher rarity, we have ourselves the deeper section. We're basically using Mang and Harpy Mage for the Perpetual Brown Storm into getting our mana accumulation going, into a High King Iron Gut, a Wild King build. If you wanted to, you could replace out for a different weapon and go for a little bit riskier High King Iron Gut first slot kind of variant if you so choose. However, we're actually primarily using Wild King, oddly enough, as our main damage source here. This will end up enraging all allies, giving you a bunch of attack, creating a bunch of skulls and yellow, which will feed back into himself, as well as High King Iron Gut. Use High King Iron Gut for his standard devours, everything else for mana accumulation, and you're good to go. Next, we have ourselves the Pure Faction. Pure Faction's a little bit annoying for this location. The main thing you have to do is constantly take extra turns. So the main gimmick on Emperinazar, at least as far as Pure Faction is concerned, is that it gives a bunch of life and magic to all allies when matching for an extra turn. With 2 of them, that'll be 4 per extra turn. That might not seem like a lot, but you're going to need it. So Kobold Knight ends up doing some damage to the first 2 enemies, stuns them, and then it will either gain an extra turn or gain a very minuscule amount of armor. You're ideally hoping for a extra turn there off the 50-50 roll. It also has a bit of score reduction, meaning you essentially have to run this as your tank while also running it as your primary damage source, as there are not too many good damage sources from this kingdom, and is basically your best option for both tanking and damage, at least combined together. So you essentially just want to keep spamming this, but particularly taking extra turns off the board, so you can get your magic rolling that way, so you can then get more damage for your kobolds, so you can actually cast the kobolds, and then you keep poking that way. You basically don't really want to cast your Emperinazar unless your kobolds are about to die, or if they have already died and you want to go get a resummon. One thing that's nice about this is if they die at any battle prior to the final battle, as long as it's not one of the Emperinazars themselves, you'll be able to go and resummon a kobold. It's a 1 in 3 chance you'll specifically get the Kobold Knight. However, you can just keep letting your first slot die out, go resummon it again, and then get another Kobold Knight, or at least a 1 in 3 chance of getting your Kobold Knight back. meaning you're very likely going into the final battle with double Kobold Knight with double Emperinazar. Meaning your main gimmick is extra turn them up to have enough magic damage, constantly keep spamming them, and win out that way. It's a very slow chip. It's definitely one of the more time-consuming factions, though it is decently consistent once you get down the pattern. It's more so just a matter of time. Though if you have higher stats combined with potion effects and everything else, it shouldn't be that bad in the current state of the game. I know it was pretty bad when it first launched, but we do have higher stats now. You could potentially run even more potions and stuff like that, so it shouldn't be too bad overall. Anyways, next we have Runepriest class event. I believe you can also use this for some coverage for the campaign event if you want to choose to do so. But this is more so meant for the Thursday class event for Runepriest. It's, hey, actually 4 troops for once, but it's a Black Manacle. It's basically a 4x Dwarf team, or it literally is a 4x Kiziel Dwarf team. High King Iron Gut, as well as, High King, King Highforge, too many kings, as well as everything here other than Black Manacle is within the event key drop table this week too, so you can just get it all there. And Black Manacles is from leveling up, so you probably have it laying around. And yeah, it's just a pure 4x Dwarf team. You use the Apothecary to get Cleanse and Brown to all your allies. You have Black Manacle as your primary damage source. King Highforge can also do some cleanup, and if you somehow fall behind, you can also get a resummon. And on top of that, you can also convert all green to brown to get a big burst of mana initially. And simply gets the Apothecary up on blue, which that might not look like blue, but that should be a blue banner right there. A +2 purple, +2 brown, +1 blue. I know it looks like purple, but it is a +1 blue in Apothecary, which you do want since you're denying out green, and you need at least 1 +1 to go into Apothecary since it has a 10 mana cost. This allows you to 2-turn it as long as one of them surges. You should pretty much always, or at least in many situations, give a 10 mana cost troop a +1 just to make sure you can 2-turn it consistently. And Apothecary is definitely pretty relevant for it. Next, we have the task coverage team. This is mostly for the Monday tasks or whenever you decide to do them for the current week. Mostly because it covers Runepriest, it covers the pure brown banner that you need to run, and it covers Hammer. So it covers all 3 of those things. You can just quick kill with a pretty standard rolling team. Just covers the 3 of them. Next, we have teams that we're actually going to start showing. So we kind of showed a little bit of a brief on Dragon Gems earlier when we did the other video. However, here's more of a structured team using the new Kobold Emissary. Of course, we don't really have many options to end up using the current Dragon Gem. Obviously, we will by the end of the season. Constantly keep getting more. However, this is the only option we have for now, so we're going to use it. Ideally, I guess we'll go for purple here. See if we can get lucky on his ability. We have a red one over here, so that's cool. Let's see if we can get it for extra turn. We did. Nice. And then we get another one. A lot of value there. Okay, we already got Peskia. That's great to see. If this actually works out, it's going to be a lot of... A double Devour! You actually can roll double Devour? That is like one of the only times I've ever seen that. Because we are unlucky enough that it never ever wants to double Devour for us. We did like a whole guild war where I think it devoured 2 times total. Can you get really lucky? Do it again. Yeah, look at it. 3 Devours? Do we have a 100% Devour rate today? Too bad we didn't have that for guild war. Gosh, that was last week. Anyways, but yeah, it's a new Dragon Gem mechanic. As far as Dragon Gems, I don't think I actually mentioned what they did in this video, but we did in the other one. But just as a brief, basically what it does, there's one for every single color, and of course they just match with those colors and count for 1 mana when matched. However, they go and explode all gems below them. So it is actually the first gem where shuffling the board is a good mechanic, particularly extra turn shuffle, like with Mistralis. Actually, I didn't even get to show it with this. I guess we'll do it one more time. I didn't even get to show the main gimmick. So we have Mistralis because... you can end up shuffling them to try to bring them higher to the top. Since they explode everything below them, one thing that you could theoretically do is, of course, shuffle them, and shuffle them all the way to the top so you can get more value from them. This isn't really required, obviously, when using them. However, you can get a little bit more value that way. And we're going to try doing that on this particular battle, and actually get our mana up that way, and hopefully not get too lucky with those extra turns like we did last time. Let's get a little bit less luckier this time. So what we can do now, hopefully we'll land extra turn. So we're going to do this. And as you can see, we extra turned on him on his 50% chance. And some of these, well, we can't match any of these, but some of them aren't in necessarily a good location. Like, these are going to explode pretty much nothing. So what we could do is use Mistralis. It has an extra turn into a jump off the board. And ideally what will happen is this, where they're somewhat towards the top, and we could just go and swipe them if we so choose. So we can end up taking that. It is a little bit better value if we go for this extra turn, so I'm just going to go for the extra turn instead. However, here, with the shuffle, we got some value where we can end up using this one. so we can end up doing that. Alternatively, though, since we have shuffled some of them more towards the top, we can also just destroy all of our green here, get them all exploded that way, and boom, good to go. Keep in mind, it is explode, not destroy, so you do only get, unfortunately, 50% of the mana accumulation for all of them below. So that's a little unfortunate, but overall, still not too bad. Anyways, can we get as lucky as we did before? Go, double devour. No, it's going to go on its no devour streak now. Okay, you got one. Anyways, let's go win. Let's go throw down a Beatrix there. Get your extra turn. Throws us down some Mistralis. I probably should have threw the blue mechanic first, but oh well. Still get a lot of mana there. Let's see. Well, we'll test our luck on Piskia again. Nope. Oh, only one battle can we get that lucky. It only wants to do it once, and let's kill it out with the Beatrix there. Obviously not meant to be like a super top tier team, but just kind of a way to end up utilizing new mechanic if you want to mess around. But yeah, it's okay. Obviously, we'll be getting better options for this mechanic. This guy is definitely towards the average side. The gem in general is kind of towards the average side. But we might be getting some troops that can end up using it in a way that makes it above average. So we'll just have to wait and see what kind of options we get throughout the season. Next, we have ourselves a Lord or Slaughter Gorgotha team. I was thinking of maybe just making a separate team for both of them, but I figured, why not just combine them together? Gorgotha is a very flexible troop that can be used in pretty much any team, and I figured might as well show it off by using it in any team. In this case, a Lord or Slaughter team. So, main premise that we're really going for here is just kind of a little bit of mana accumulation off a Leprechaun, and generally any Gorgotha team, the way you want to structure it is Gorgotha in first slot, one other mana accumulator, in this case Leprechaun, with 2 damage sources. In this case, the 2 damage sources of choice is Lord or Slaughter and Leprechaun. Obviously, you can go with any 2 damage sources that you so choose. I was doing on this under the logic of, oh, what if it runs away? And then I just realized it can't run away. Don't forget, we do still have to keep getting those 10 crowns per day. That'll be lasting actually for another 4 weeks. It's a pretty long event. I was mentioning on stream too, that the event feels like it takes a little bit too long compared to some of the other ones, which is a little unfortunate, but you do get a lot of loot along the way, even on the free side. But we'll go kill that out. A little overkill. Oh, we did miss there, unfortunately. But that's why we have Gorgotha. You notice he took a lot of skulls, particularly Doom skulls, and it was like he barely even touched us because of the 75% reduction on Gorgotha there. We didn't actually get to utilize Lord or Slaughter as much in this particular battle, but no, we still got a lot of skull damage on him. Obviously, we're not using him for his 100% true damage in that situation, though there are a lot of times where you do put Lord or Slaughter in second slot or third slot, just because he's a lot kind of flimsy if you put him in first. He does have some skull reduction, but it's not a particularly high amount of skull reduction, especially given that you're generally going to be getting hit back with Doom Skulls, which, amplifying their damage even more. Alright, next, we're going to go for an Orpheus dungeon team. So this is meant more so for the dungeons, not necessarily for these kind of battles. However, essentially what we're doing here is going for a bunch of true damage pokes while having a lot of cleanse. So this will be a little bit slower than your normal team. However, this is meant to counter out every single one of the status effects, and also uses the Orpheus that is available in Soulforge this week. So, of course, there are a lot of annoying effects that you can end up being applied to you when you're doing a dungeon run these days. There's Death Mark, there's Silence, there's Stun, and basically this has counter to everything. You have a Impervious, so if you get silenced or stunned, you don't have to end up worrying about it. It has Cleanse on both taking yellow and on ability. And on top of that, we can also take an extra turn off of Beatrix. So as long as we're not stunned, we can end up doing that. And even if it is a brown day where we do end up getting stunned, well, Orpheus won't. So we can simply still take a yellow or simply cast it. And it's basically just a wide coverage general team that you could run for any of the 7 days in order to just clear out dungeons and not have to worry about any of those very annoying status effects. Of course, in many situations, you probably just want to run a quick Soulgoth team or something similar, assuming you're not afflicted by annoying effects. But on those situations where you are, you could just have a general team like this, have it ready to go, and just be good to go. This will be even better if you ended up having Scourge of Honor fully metalled. I could if I wanted to, though I personally have not bothered to fully max out my Scourge of Honor, though he does get 6 additional damage per cast if you do so, which would make this team even better. Okay, and lastly, never mind, that was the last team. Well, let's go do Dragon Gem one more time then, if that's the case. As Dragon Gem, of course, the new mechanic that came in this week. And apparently, gosh, we're almost going to get all of our crowns right now. I'll get kind of lucky on them. Though that last crown's always the most annoying to get. So, I kind of want a purple here. I can't take purple. Here, I have it to skull, I guess. Luckily, we have Enchant. Another thing that's really nice about Mistralis, if you don't end up getting too lucky, you'll just passively get all of your mana up that way, so not too bad. We're going to have to just wait another turn. Probably just want to take some blue here so we can get everything rolling pretty much at once. Well, everyone except Mistralis here. So we're going to hope for an extra turn and hope we can snowball from there. We did indeed land extra turn, and yeah, we can just snowball from here. Get another extra turn. No! Why'd you fail? Why do you have to fail? Okay, well, let's go for this. Double Devour. Yeah, there we go. Double Devour. Okay, you're a 1 mana short. That's unfortunate. I'll get you more mana by doing this. Oh, no, Double Devour. Why? The double. Honestly, Piskia, this is why I hate Piskia. Piskia only does one of two things. It will either auto-win you instantly or auto-lose you instantly. There's no in between. It's either going to land extra turn, full blue mana your entire team, and double Devour, or it's going to get 0 Devour and somehow miss like a 20 blue gem spawn and just give the enemy full blue. There's almost nothing in between. But, yeah, he's so random. But, yeah, new power gem. It's okay. Definitely curious to see what future ones will end up having in store. Anyways, guys, all 10 teams showed in this video will be in the description below if you want to go and copy-paste any of them. Of course, teams we did not go over that are specifically coming out this week is this Friday. We are going to be getting a new troop and a new deep delve. However, we'll be covering a separate video on that on this Friday, just kind of going over all of that when it actually ends up happening. So anyways, guys, if you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. All the teams there for copy paste, feel free to leave a like on the video as it helps out a lot. It is greatly appreciated. And I'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.